lesson 1, 2, words and expressions. So the good news is you did some of this last year, so this is not new to you. Okay, there's a lot of stuff in the first few chapters that aren't new. Should just be review. Should just be review. All right, so an expression. Now remember, you only need to write what you think you need to remember. Okay, if you don't want to write that whole thing, you write as much as you think so you understand what was going on in the lesson. You don't need to write everything word for word if you don't want to. You just need to be able to look back at your notes and understand what we did. So an expression, it's a phrase. It's something that's made up of variables or numbers and operations, so everything put together pretty much. Evaluate is one of the words that a lot of people don't know what that means. It just means to solve something. So if you see the directions and it says evaluate, it means to solve it. Solve. Does anybody remember what a variable is? What's a variable? What's a variable, Brooklyn? It's the letter. Yep. Yep. It's a lot of times they put a letter in there if we don't know what the number is. Okay, a lot of times they'll put a letter in there. You don't have to be scared of it because today they're going to tell us what the letters mean, and we're just going to have to put something in and solve. What do they mean by operations in there? What do they mean by operations? May I have a guess for that? What do they mean by operations? Kind of, yeah, your plus, your multiply, your divide, your subtraction, yeah. So everything we do today, we're going to see adding, subtracting, some kind of operation, a letter maybe, and a number. Does anybody still need this yet? Okay. Good? Good? Okay. All right, so remember this from last year? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, the order of operations. Does anybody remember this or kind of like somewhat like think they remember seeing this anyway? Okay, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We're going to use it today, and we're going to use it now until the end of the year. So this is something that we have to master and have to get down. So this is why this is the first lesson of the year, is because we have to know how to do this. So order of operations. A lot of people say, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Last year, I think I had you in your notebook make a picture that looks something like this, if you remember. And we did something like this. Does that look familiar to anybody, what we did in our notebook last year? I'm not sure if that was you or the 8th grader who I had to do that. But make sure you know the order and what you have to do things. So the first thing you have to do is your parentheses. And that's why we have this sentence up here. It's to help you remind you what that order is. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P is parentheses. E is exponents. We probably won't deal with the exponents a whole lot today. More so parentheses, the multiplying, divide, adding, and subtracting. So make sure you know the order in which they go, because if you mess the order up, you're not going to get the answer correct. And we're going to practice these today, because these are in your homework, these types of problems. The ones that are the most confusing are actually the number 3 and number 4 up there, multiplying, dividing from left to right. People think that because multiply comes before divide means it has to be done first. That's not true, okay? So like if you have something that looks like this, what would you do first in this one? Kate? Yeah, you're going to divide. It doesn't matter what order they come in. You just have to go from left to right, okay? Yep. Same thing like adding and subtracting. If you would have this, even though subtraction comes first, you still can do the subtraction first. It doesn't matter with the order. You just have to go from left to right, okay? That's the hardest part for people to get, and we'll do some practice with those in a second. Does anybody have questions on this? Anybody still need this slide? Okay. All right, so let's do some practice. So let's look up here. Let's just look at this one together, okay? So I have 5 on the outside, parentheses, 5 plus 9. Now, if I were you, I would do everything in steps so you can see in steps of what you're going to do. Steps will help tremendously, not only now but later, so get in the habit of showing some steps. So if I look at this, according to Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, what do I have to do first? Aiden? 5 plus 9, because it's in what? It's in those parentheses, right? So let's do that first. 5 plus 9, 14. Then I like to bring everything down that I did not use yet, so I can see in steps what do I have to do next. Well, what does 5 parentheses 14 mean? What is this another way of showing, Maddie? Multiplication, right? So if I have something on the outside of my parentheses, it means multiply. So if you have to do it to the side, go ahead and do it to the side. So the answer to this would be 70. Okay? All right, let's go to the next one. 4 plus 5 times 5. According to Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, what do I have to do first? Aiden? 5 times 5, because multiplication comes the step before addition. So I'm going to do this first. 5 times 5, 25. Then I bring the rest down that I did not use yet, and all I have left is addition. 4 plus 25, 29. Good. All right, so the next one, we're getting a little longer here. We're getting a little longer. I have 2 parentheses 6 plus 4, and parentheses minus 3 times 5. I'll let you get it written down first. If you want to try it by yourself, you can try it by yourself. I'm totally fine with that. Do you want to try it by yourself? Yeah, go for it. Then I'll do it. Think about what comes first. Bring everything down you didn't use. What comes next? All right, so I don't know the answer off the top of my head. I didn't do it yet. Doing it in steps is a good idea so you can see everything you're doing. Especially this, it's easy to see what comes next then if you do it in steps. So what do you think comes first here? What's supposed to come first? Kate? Parentheses, yep. So I'm going to do that, and that's going to be 10. So this is what it's going to look like then. Yep. So now what do you think I should do next? What do you think I should do next? McKenna? I don't have any division in there. I just have subtraction. But if you look at it, do I have 2 multiplication problems in there? Yeah. So I can do them from left to right in the same step if I want to do that. Okay, so like this would be 20. This would be 15. I'm going to subtract because that's what I have left. And your answer, if you did it by yourself, should be 5. Should be 5. Okay. Any questions? Some people probably did subtraction first in there. Anybody have that problem where you maybe did your subtraction first? Yep, you got to be really, really careful. And that's why if you do it in steps, you can look at it and see, okay, what comes next? Then what comes next? So just be careful of that. Okay, another type of problem you might see looks like this. This is the only time that Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally does not work. The only time Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally doesn't work. Sorry, let me get out of your way. You just got to tell me. I'm not used to moving. I'm not used to having somebody there, so. So first of all, we got to look to see what's even in this problem. Like, what kind of operations are in this problem? What kind of operations? McKenna? Addition, subtraction. There's one more in there. What is it, Dylan? Dividing. That line means division. Okay? Now, according to Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, what's supposed to come first? Division, right? But can I do my division first? Like, I don't know what some of those things are. I can't divide 53 plus 15. I have to do my addition and subtraction first because I can't do my division. I got to have a number, one number up here and one number down here. So I have to do my addition and subtraction first. So let's see, this one is going to be 68 if I add it together. What's this going to be? 4. Now can I do my division? Yep. So this is technically the only time Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally would come in a different order is when you have that division bar and two things up on top that you need to solve first, or on bottom that you need to solve first. So what's 68 divided by 4? 1, 28, what is that, 7? 17? Good. Questions so far? So far so good? Everybody awake? Somewhat? Okay, the last big one I want to show you, we can come back to some of these. The last big one I want to show you looks like this. And the only thing that's different, this is something you did not have last year. What's in there that you did not have last year? What do you see, Dylan? Nope. Exponents is a little itty-bitty numbers, okay? Good try. Maddie, brackets. See these little brackets right here? They're like another set of parentheses. Okay, so anything in the brackets, you have to do first. You worry about this guy way at the end. So if you think about Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, what should come before the parentheses even? Everything in the brackets, really. So let's do everything in the brackets first. Or what should be done in the brackets first? What should be done first? Brooklyn? Parentheses. Okay, so 15 minus 9. What is that? 4, 6. And then I have 8 plus 2. I'm just going to put everything back in my brackets. Now what's the next thing that's got to be done in my brackets? You got to do everything in your brackets first. Kenna? Yep, 8 times 2, so then I'm left with this, 6 plus 16. Now it's got to be done. Now it has to be done. Henry? Your addition, because everything in your brackets has to be done first. Good job. So 16 plus 6 is 22. Is everything in my brackets done? Yeah, I don't have anything else I can do. So now I can multiply by my 4. Do you understand why it's multiplication? It's like another set of parentheses. So it'll be 22 times 4, 88. So everything in your brackets has to be done first, according to Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, and then you can do whatever's on the outside of those brackets. You want to try one by yourself? You want me to give you one with brackets? You want to try it by yourself? I think that's a good idea. That's a big number. Let's keep it small. Let's keep it simple. Think about what has to be done in your parentheses first. Let me get out of the way. In your brackets. All right, so somebody step me through it. What's the first thing you should have done here? Somebody you haven't heard from yet today. Who's somebody you haven't heard from a lot yet today? What's the first step? Henry? 9 times 3, you're right. 9 times 3, because that's, please excuse my ignorance. So then I have this. 9 times 3 is 27, correct? That's right, right? Okay, then I have this. My next step, what do I have to do next in my brackets? It's pretty much a dead giveaway. What do I got to do? Jake Bogan, what do I got to do? You're right, 2 plus 27. 29. So what I got left, I'm done with everything inside those brackets. My last step is to do what? Multiply, right? What's 29 times 3? Yep, 87. Nice work. My last one was 88, right? How did I get so close to that? That's crazy. Questions so far? Anybody have questions? I think you can handle some of this today. Okay, so a few other things I need to show you before I'm done. We're going to skip that one. Quickly, in our notebook, we need to make a list of what some of these words mean. Okay, so addition. What are some things that would mean addition? Go ahead. Add, yep. Anything else? Add some is another one. Anything else that would mean add? Together. Think together. How many do you have all together? Plus. Anything else? Anything else that means add? What about subtract? What do you think that means subtract? Yeah? Okay. Left? I'll just say how much left. What's the answer to a subtraction problem called? Starts with a D. Yeah? You're right. Good job, Henry. Difference. Yeah. Minus. I was going to say that one too. Minus. Good job. What means multiplication? Anybody? Maddie? Product. Good one. That's the answer to a multiplication. Good job. There's like one more I can think of. Yep. Times was the other one. Nice work. There's more words that mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. And then we got one for division. This is the hardest one. Yeah, you're right. Quotient. Quotient. Another thing that would mean division, if you would see it like cut in half, divide by 2. Like if it's say would cut in half or divide into thirds or divide into fourths, just dividing into something, that also means division. Divide into 3s, 4s, 5s, whatever. Do you guys understand what I mean by that? So another part of your homework today is they're going to give you an actual sentence, like a legit sentence, and you have to put it into what the expression would look like, which is not too hard. So for example, does anybody still need this yet? Okay, so for example, if I have 5 multiplied by 3, what does that look like in expression? Kenna? Yeah, 5 times 3. If I have the number of apples you have, if you start with 10 and eat 2, what would that look like? You start with 10 apples and eat 2, what does that look like, Brooklyn? 10 minus 2, right, because you want to know how many you have left, and really you'd have 8 left, but you don't even have to answer them today. You just have to write this part. You don't even have to answer them. So this one, what's this one? The total length of songs, if there are 3 songs and each is 4 minutes long, what does that look like? If there's 3 songs on your iPod, whatever you people listen to these days, and they're 4 minutes long, how much time is that going to be, Logan? Yep. Tricky? No. Look for keywords. Look for keywords. Think about it. Think about it. Okay, last thing, then I'm done. Okay, I promise. They're going to have you write an expression for a story problem. Okay, now this is kind of like what we talked about yesterday a little bit. So the pencil costs $1. and a notebook costs 2. Write an expression for the total cost when you buy 8 pencils and 13 notebooks. If you want a good example in your notebook, this would be a good one to like kind of jot down a little bit for yourself if you want a good example. I have another good example I'm going to show you in a little bit, but at least have something story problem-wise so you understand when you get to your story problems. So a pencil costs $1 and a notebook costs 2. Write an expression for the total cost when you buy 8 pencils and 13 notebooks. And it might say and evaluate. I'm not sure what the homework says. It might say and evaluate, but we're going to just write the expression first. Pencil costs $1, notebook costs 2. Write an expression for the total cost when you buy 8 pencils and 13 notebooks. Can you see, Alyssa? Do you want me to get my head out of the way? All right, about ready? So what do you think we're going to do? What do you think we're going to start to do? How would we put this together, like in an expression? Like, what are some things we know, McKenna? Okay, so why 8 times 1? What is it telling you? What does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, good. So let's do the pencils first. So she knows that she's going to buy 8 pencils, and she's going to take that times 1 to figure out how many the pencils are going to cost, how much the pencils are going to cost, right? What's the other thing I got in there? My notebooks? What do I know about them, Brooklyn? 13 times 2. Now, if I want to know how much I spend total, what am I going to do with these two things? What am I going to do with them? Go ahead, McKenna. No. And then add them together. So here's my pencils. Here are my notebooks. Yep. And if I want to know how much they're going to cost altogether, then I would evaluate. If it says, right, and evaluate, you might have to solve it too. If we have to evaluate, you do 8 plus 26. 13 times 2, 26. Add them together, you're going to get $34 for pencils and notebooks. You could write this a few different ways. You wouldn't have to write it like this. Another way you could write it would have been like this, like 8, 1 plus 13 times 2. That's another way you could have written it. Because does that mean multiplication? It's the same thing. Same thing. What questions do you have for me? How about you do one by yourself? See if you can do it. You don't got to write the whole thing out. Put together the expression, okay? Read it. It says adult ticket to the movies is $9. A student is 7. Write an expression if you buy 6 adults and 9 student tickets. Just write the expression. That's all I need you to do. We won't evaluate it. Just write the expression. What's it look like? All right, anybody want to share what they have on their paper? What do you have on your paper? What does it look like? Somebody I haven't heard from yet today. Somebody I haven't heard from. You don't have to be scared. What do you got in your paper? Who wants to share? Kate, what do you got? Yeah, you. Oh, you solved it? What did you do before you solved it? I want to know what your problem looked like. Okay. 6 times 9. Okay. Like this. And then you press. Okay, go. Is that what yours looked like? Something like that? I mean, it didn't have to look exact like that. It could have looked like something like this. Could have looked like that. And then I don't know if you solved it. I didn't solve it. What did you get? 117 if you solved it. Is that what you got? I'm not even sure. Is that right? I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. Good job. You think you can handle this? Yes? Think so? Can I do one more problem with you and then you're done? I promise. I'm done after this. Let's say you go to the fair. We didn't get to go to the fair this summer, but we're going to go now. What's it cost to get into the fair? Like, let's not get a pass. Is it 11 bucks? Or is it 10? I think it's $10 a person. Okay, so go to the fair. And it's $10 per person. And we're just thinking about you, like just one person. What's it cost for a ride? Okay. It costs $5 for a ride. Write an expression if you ride 3 rides. How much do you spend that day? There's one like this in your homework. That's why I'm doing that. There's one like this in your homework. Okay, so you go to the fair. Let's say, let's see, Aiden goes to the fair. He pays 10 bucks to get in. Okay, he's going to go and he's going to ride 3 rides. It's going to cost him $5 a piece. What can the expression look like for this? What can it look like, Aiden? 10 plus 15, but how am I going to show that? It could be like this. You got to show me what that 15 looks like before you do it. Yep, and then you would pay like 25 bucks to get in. So there might be some where you don't have to do multiplication on both sides. It might be something that you just have to add to it. So be careful when you read that, like, he only went to the fair one time. He had one time he had to pay $10. He didn't pay $10 every time he rode the ride, right? Because that would be like robbery. Pay 10 bucks every time you ride the ride, and then another 3 bucks on top, or 5 bucks on top of it. So be careful of how you read the problem. And I'm going to point one out to you in your homework today that's like this, so you can see what I'm talking about. Questions?